Welcome to Replenish, the atmosphere of discovery. It's where you are. So today's session is titled Motivation. Today's session is titled Motivation. So motivation is the intent and purpose behind every action. Motivation is the intent and purpose behind every action. It can be something that you are conscious of, or it can be hidden in your subconscious. Okay. So it is the force behind what you do. Everything you do, there's a reason that you do it. So becoming motivated for your good is based on your ability to manage your reasoning correctly, right? That means your perspective may change, right? That means you need to learn to become a great learner. Make sure that you're teachable, become a great or a better communicator. And then also surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, people that are where you are trying to go. Okay. So every mental, emotional, or behavioral issue started with an intended purpose. Okay. Every mental, emotional, or behavioral issue started with an intended purpose. That purpose could have been for revenge, right? It could have been for peace. The purpose could have been for satisfaction, for love, for anger, whatever it was for, that was something that needed to attach itself to you in order to drive a response out of you. Okay. Whatever drives you to respond is the motive whose result is what your life has become. Okay. And that's why we should recognize our influences. Who and what are we making important? Right? Because who we make our community, who we allow to influence us, will determine where our motivation comes from, whether it's negative or positive, right? Your community will introduce you to motives, and it can challenge the intents of your heart, which can alter the direction that you're going. Okay. So when you receive reasons to go in the opposite direction of growth, when you receive those reasons from your community, from your family, your friends, your idols, whoever they have just introduced you to a motivator. Okay. Some motivate you in the wrong direction by introducing you to different substances, right? There's a such thing called peer pressure. Okay. And if you not having that certain substance, whether it's legal or illegal, okay, if it causes you now to become unmotivated to grow, if it makes you irritable, if it makes you agitated, then your motivator may have turned into a form of an addiction. Okay. Remember, there is intention behind every action. And what you call lack of action, right? It's still action, whether you see it that way or not. There is intention behind every action. Also, intention behind every quote unquote lack of action. Because lack of action is still an action. Okay. Your motivation should include things that are of high value, like love, honor, integrity, purpose. These should be your motivations, not revenge, not anger, not hate and fear. You should not be motivated by those things. When you think you lack motivation, you actually don't. When you are doing nothing, there is something driving you to not do what you should, right? But you are doing something by not doing nothing. There's just something driving you to not do what you should be doing. You are being driven to sabotage yourself, to waste your time, to waste your resources and other people's time and resources, right? You are being driven to be in bondage to the elements of this world. You are being driven to refuse to use wisdom and gain knowledge and understanding. Something is driving you, whether it's action or lack of action, something is driving you to that. So when you think you're not doing anything, this is what you're doing. You are doing something. You are sabotaging yourself. You are putting yourself in bondage. You are doing something. God's motivation for you is an expected end. God has an expected end for you, a great future, right? This means that his intentions and purpose for you Whatever he created you for has his expectation for you in it, not yours. Okay. So when you expect to continue just existing, understand that your creator has already made up his mind that he expects you to have a great future. The situations and things that you put yourself in, he tries to stop it. He'll send you warning, right? But because it's who you like or because it's what you like, we often ignore those warnings, okay? Because our intentions sometimes are only for self-satisfaction. And if this is where you are, then you have no idea who you are. If your intentions and your motivations are only for self-satisfaction, you have no idea who you are. Okay. You have built your identity on created things instead of who the creator built you to be, right? You've built your identity on your accomplishments and what you have. And these are only a result of your acting on what you believe or what others believe about you, not necessarily who God created you to be. So if you only identify yourself by things and accomplishments, then if you ever lose those things or you don't feel accomplished, then you begin to question who you are, what you're capable of, or begin to adopt a new identity. But that's not who you are. So you cannot put your motivations in accomplishment and in things, right? Because we'll lose things. Some goals we won't meet. And if our identity is wrapped up in that, then we'll either try to become, find a new identity and not really grow into who God has created us to be. So just because you may have accomplished a lot or have a lot, that's what that means. You've accomplished a lot and you have a lot. Okay, but you can make your faith a motivator instead of those things and accomplishments, right? Faith says when you don't have those things or when something causes you to miss some of those goals that you've set, you still believe who you are. This is something that has to be inside of you. Okay, you must have faith in God, but you also must have faith in who God made you to be. A lot of us believe God, like we believe in God, but we don't believe in who he created us to be, right? We have to stop measuring ourselves on man standards and raise our standard to be on that divine level of identity, right? God's view of us, not judging ourselves by where we are right now, but walking according to who we are becoming. And we are always becoming. We're always becoming who we are supposed to be. Okay. We never reach that pinnacle until we get to heaven, right? So it is a tragedy when you have powerful, influential people driven by the wrong motivation. They end up never achieving that expected end, right? Are you one of those people that is traveling in the direction opposite of your purpose? Are you one of those people that have the ability, that have been equipped with everything you would need to change the world, but your motives have bound you, have imprisoned you, and caused you to be unfulfilled and unsatisfied? What is the motivation behind your feelings? What is the motivation behind your thoughts, the way that you think? What is the motivation behind your behavior? Are your intentions good or is it malicious? Is the intent on destroying you? Right? These are things we have to think about. And I don't know is not the answer. It's a response, but it's not the answer to the question. What is motivating your thoughts? What is motivating your feelings? Is it good or is it malicious? Is the intent to destroy you? Is what you thinking, the intent behind what you're thinking to destroy you? What you're feeling, is the intent or the purpose behind your feelings to destroy you? And then your behaviors, the way that you act, is the intention behind the way you're acting intended to sabotage you? Where you feel you lack motivation, you don't lack motivation. It's just in the wrong direction. Okay. When you're going backwards, when you're going away from your destiny or in circles, your motivation is misplaced. It's driving you to fail. It's driving you to remain in bondage, to remain hopeless, right? That's the intention of misplaced motivators, okay? It's to drive you to fail. It's to drive you in the opposite direction of your purpose. So when you are asked why something is the way that it is, avoid responding with, I don't know, okay? Find the source, okay? Find the motivator. If the motivator is fear, doubt, anger, revenge, you are not going to find fulfillment. Okay. You will not achieve peace. You may feel accomplished, right? You might get rich, you might get fame, but you will not be fulfilled. Okay. And a lot of people say that the best revenge is to prove your haters wrong, right? Why is your comfort and your success in the hands of the people that don't like you? Why are they even on your mind? And what if they never see what you've done? What if they never hear about you? You will still feel empty if the haters are your motivators, right? The space that they held in your mind and in your emotions should be filled with people you admire. It should be filled with people that support you. It should be filled with the people that you are called to, right? That's why we have to be careful about being motivated by how other people make us feel. If what motivates you is not connected to your purpose and it's based on somebody else's will, right, you will lose motivation when people start acting different or when your relationships change because your motivator was them, based on them supporting you, right? Based on them being proud of you, right? We have to be careful about being motivated by how other people make us feel. Okay. Somebody can introduce you to a good motivator, right? Or a good intention, but let it be tied to something within you. Let it be tied to purpose instead of something or someone that is outside of you because people have their own will and people evolve. People change, relationships change, right? So family can be a good motivator, right? But what happens when your family dynamics change? Right? What happens when you lose someone or you gain someone? What happens when your children grow up or you lose access to them, right? It will affect your motivation. So your family, even your family motivation must be attached to something deeper within you so that when your family dynamics change, your motivation doesn't get misplaced. Love is a good motivator. But love is only a good motivator when it is unconditional. Love is only a good motivator when it is unconditional. When it's not, it will begin to motivate you in the wrong direction. And we all know this, right? When your love is conditional, the minute somebody does something or says something that you don't like, that no longer motivates you. Faith is a good motivator, right? But it must be faith in what is beneficial to you. Okay. We can put our faith in the wrong things. We can put our faith in fear. We can put our faith in reckless people. We can put our faith in ourselves more than God, right? But we will make mistakes. God won't. Reckless people, they'll take you down with them, right? And fear will drive you into anxiety, into depression and torment. Okay. Hope is a motivator. Not having hope, being hopeless, can make you physically and mentally and emotionally and spiritually sick, right? So don't allow your hope to be mixed with negative influences. That negative expectation causes anxiety. Okay, do not put your hope in negative influence. It doesn't matter who it comes from or what it comes from. When you put your hope and your expectation and negative influences, it causes anxiety. And anxiety is sent to distract you from purpose. It's going to distract you from what you were supposed to do. It becomes the focus, right? So you have beneficial motivators when you feel fulfilled. This is how you know your motivations are in the right place. Okay. And not just feel good, right? Because a good feeling is temporary. Being fulfilled, being satisfied is lasting. Okay. So some of your motivations might give you a good feeling, but that's temporary. Are you really fulfilled? And that's how you know if you have beneficial motivators or not. If your motivation is misplaced, find out what equipment you have. Okay. Find out what you are equipped with, meaning what characteristics and abilities did God give you? What is in you that needs to come out? So I want you to develop those things, develop them, use them. You can take small steps, but just take the steps, right? Don't just think about it, write about it, talk about it, do it, right? What is within you? What are the characteristics that you canceled out because somebody hurt you? Because the last time you were kind, somebody used you. What are those things that that are God-given, that are parts of God that He placed in you, right, to better this world, that goes along with your purpose? What are those things? Those things need to come out because you need motivators that can withstand the challenges of life, right? That can handle every season that you're in. And I'm sorry, some people can't handle every season that you're in. Great motivators will keep your perspectives in check. It'll help you avoid the chaos and the toxicity. Okay. The people that don't like you, don't keep them on your mind unless you're praying for them. You should not always be talking about the people that don't like you. Okay. Unless you're praying for them. They will announce you and put your name in every atmosphere that you need to be mentioned, right? And they will end up propelling you without you having to have them take up space in your mind and your emotions. They don't have to be there in that place. You can place people in that place that are supportive. The people you're called to, they need that space, but you have your haters in that space. Okay. When you are motivated by making someone proud of you, right? You know, we go through life, and even as children, we want our parents to be proud of us, right? But when you're motivated by making someone proud, make sure that whatever you are doing to make them proud is purpose driven and that it is in your capacity, right? Because remember, an expectation outside of your capacity causes pressure, right? You have high expectations or high goals, but then you also have those things that are past what you could even do, and that causes pressure. Okay. So people can be good motivators for you, but don't let it become pressure or drive you away from your purpose. Somebody motivating you to be a astronaut, to be a pastor, to be a doctor, somebody trying to motivate you to be a parent or to be somebody's wife or husband or get a degree, whatever it is, it's pointless if it is not your purpose. Okay. So parents, let your children tell you what they want to be. Okay. There are people that are adults now that have turned away from God's purpose because they were given a purpose by their parents. And it caused so much pressure and unfulfillment that they turned to substances and bad habits to cope with this pressure, right? When you notice certain strengths in your children, begin to nurture that and see how that grows. You should be more proud that they fulfilled God's purpose for them than what you planned for them. Because what God's plan is going to prosper. What you plan for them may not necessarily prosper, and you find that they fail because maybe that was your purpose, right? And some parents do this out of a true desire to see their children do well, but other parents put this pressure on their children to make up for their failures, right? How many of you have pushed your children to be what you couldn't? That may be why they're failing. So sit them down, apologize, right? Ask them what is it that they wanted to do with their life. And this applies to other relationships as well. This applies to marriages. This applies to friendships and work relationships. If you motivated or push someone outside of their purpose, directly or indirectly, right? Because somebody can tell you their dream, and because you don't see that for them, not because God told you, you want them to do something different, You talk down on it. But what if that was their purpose, right? So if you motivated or push somebody outside of their purpose, apologize, okay? Find out what their purpose is and support that purpose to resolve that pressure that you placed on them to do what you wanted them to do. If a person you know is not operating in their purpose, you can motivate them by finding something within them to attach it to, right? Within, meaning it was already there, okay? It was already there in your spirit before you even had a body. God already placed it there because he knew you needed it for your purpose, right? What motivated you may not be what's in them to motivate them. So you might have to find a different way. And if they continue to be motivated in the wrong direction, then it may be time to put a boundary on that relationship before they begin to motivate you in the wrong direction. Birds of a feather flock together, right? So before long, if they're continuing to go the wrong way and continue to be motivated to not do what they're supposed to do, you got to set some boundaries on that relationship. So when you say you don't have motivation, you do have motivation, right? There is always a reason to do what you do or fail to do. There's always a reason. Whether you do it or you fail to do it, there's a reason why you did both. Okay. You can be motivated to succeed or fail. You can be motivated to start or stop. You can be motivated to live or die. You can be motivated to gain or lose. You can be motivated to try or to give up. Either way, every action, there is an intent and purpose behind it. Okay. Not making a decision is still a decision. Okay. Saying you don't know what to do and then proceeding to do the opposite of what you should be doing is still doing something. Okay. Every living being that has a will has a motivation. There is a reason, there is a purpose, there is an intent to your action, including what you think is a lack of action. So when you say, I just don't have any motivation, you are motivated, but you're motivated in the opposite direction, right? What is the source? What is the reason why you're motivated in the opposite direction? Because you're doing something. You're failing, you're sabotaging yourself. That's what you're doing when you could be winning. You could be operating in your purpose. So, what is motivating you that direction? Once you find out what that source is, cut it off. No more excuses. Okay. Begin doing what you were purposed to do. And some of us have to clear out the cobwebs. Some of us have to resurrect those characteristics and those abilities that we were supposed to be stewarding well, that we were supposed to be birthing out. Okay. Some of us have had some purpose abortions. We've aborted our purpose. Call it back into you, right? Begin speaking it. Begin writing about it. Begin doing it. Small steps. You can take small steps. Research your small steps, right? We get on Google for everything else. Get on Google for your purpose. Okay. Find out some information, gain some knowledge, gain some wisdom. Meet with people that are where you're trying to be. Okay. And for those who cannot figure out what their purpose is, you have to spend time with your creator. He will tell you. And a lot of times, when we are traumatized or these events happen in our lives that is like soul shaking to us, we may intentionally or not intentionally have this memory block, right? Well, I always ask people, like, what is it that you love to do as a child, right? And a lot of things that we do as a child, sometimes it's made fun of, sometimes it's like before our time, right? So people shut it down. But find out what your purpose is. And you want motivators that put you going in that direction. Anything and anyone that has you going in the opposite direction, there needs to be a boundary, right? If you're going to keep it, some of the stuff you can get rid of, but if you're going to keep it, there needs to be boundaries. Okay. And if you having a problem with boundaries, we have a session on boundaries as well. Remember, you are motivated. It's just, what are you motivated to do? If you're just motivated by what you're thinking and that's not working anymore, then you have to get some more motivators, right? You have to get some more things that are attached to what's in you to help drive that out. And when God wants you to do something, what he's telling you to do doesn't create the pressure, right? Because he only tells you to do things that you have the capacity for, that he's going to give you the capacity for. So if he placed it on you to do something, do something, but do something that is in your capacity to do. And this applies to multiple situations, right? Because there's, we experience tragedies every day as a community, right? And so, yes, there's this drive. There is something that we all can do towards making the world better for someone else. We have to avoid putting ourselves in like God's place. Yes, you might have his feeling and his burden for the people, but do what it is that he has, what he's given you to do with what you have or what you are capable of doing. Because when we want to do things that are bigger than what we can do, it creates pressure for us. And when the pressure comes, we really can't think or hear what it is that we can do. We are all motivated to do or not to do. So you are motivated. It's just, what direction are you motivated in? Well, that concludes our session for today. I will try to have this up within the next 2 hours. Please share with people who are being motivated in the wrong direction. People that say, oh, I don't know why I just can't get this done. Find out the source. Find out what is the motivator. There could be a negative motivator, right? That is causing this stagnation, that is causing you to go in circles. Find out what it is. Find out who it is. Sometimes it's a person. Every time you feel motivated and you ready to do what it is that you are supposed to do, and the person just speaks negatively about it, they don't offer any solutions or any, and then all of a sudden you find yourself not wanting to do it. And then let's make sure we are not, right, the motivator that is motivating people in the wrong direction, right? When you listen to people, make sure you listen with an open mind, and that if it's something connected to purpose, that we are motivating them in the right direction, even if the purpose is not what you think they should be doing. Unless God has told you that, this is not what they should be doing, motivate them in the right direction. So God bless. I will see you all next Friday at 3 p.m.